Welcome everyone to Code with Sally on Thursdays. We usually start the session at 7 p.m. Eastern. I will paste here in the chat some useful links for everyone to be able to access it. And I will go through them as well for the recording. Here, that's one. I shared the first one is the blog for Code with Sally, where I'm talking about collections, lists, and sets and maps. The reason why I'm sharing this, because this is the last session we have about collections. In this session, we'll finish the maps. We were missing how to loop through maps, so we'll do that. And then we'll solve the questions or the homework we had for blocks, sets, and maps. But you can, if you want to review, you can go through either the blog, here you have it, or on the YouTube channel, you will find here YouTube a playlist for the sessions we have, and you will find towards the end, like we have the sessions for the sets, maps, and list sets and maps. And the session for today as well will be added. So that would be a good way to review. Also, you can reach me on LinkedIn if you have questions. You can join our Code with Sally Slack or the military Slack if you prefer. I'm available, or LinkedIn if that's easier for you. Any questions anytime, please pause and raise your hand or paste ask in the chat. I keep an eye. And hopefully this session will give you a good revision for sets, lists, and maps, and a good comparison when to use each. So feel free to stop me anytime and ask your questions. Let's start. So last time we discussed the maps and we saw how they are different what's the difference between them and lists and sets. We saw that lists and sets, it's collection of one like list of strings or a set of strings. The difference between the list and sets, we went through it as well. List is an ordered list. Each item has an address. You can go get the item with the address, which is the index. The sets is not ordered and it doesn't allow duplicates. List allow duplicates. But in a list and a set, let me take here, I will open the developer console. Anyone who's joining you, we said like it's better to have a developer org where you can apply. Hopefully by next time, everyone will have their Visual Studio Code ready, because we can try and start using it, and you can still use developer console, but it's easier to use Visual Studio Code. We'll open the developer console from the gear here, and you open the developer console, a new tab, and we go to execute anonymous. Here I will clear it, and I put here the example we have that we want to use for the receipt. We tried how we can convert the image we have here for the receipt using lists and using sets before. Here we go. So I have 1 cheese, and what's the price? 3 chicken soup, and what's the price? Same for the pizza, bread, and chicken. We saw before how we can convert this image to a list. We said the list is maybe the order or the items. I got them off the shelf. So I got 1 chicken, then 1 chicken soup, then another chicken soup, then another chicken soup. So as you can see here, we can have duplicates. Then in another session, we said, okay, I don't care about, I don't want to have 3 chicken soup. I want to know the items that I bought, like name them regardless of how many, or to repeat them multiple times to indicate how many times I got them. And that took us to the set, and we saw that we can have only non-duplicate values So we can have the cheese, chicken soup, pizza, bread, and that's here we are initializing the set with a list of strings or string values. And we saw how we can use another constructor to pass the list, and that will form me out of this list of string, the unique values for the set. Now we want to represent the same, but with a map. And after that, we'll go through it and see how we can loop through the keys or the values. But first, we want to have our map ready. Any volunteer who wants to speak loud or paste it in the chat, Steve? You wanted to share
Sure.
this?
Yeah.
Okay. Paste it for me in the chat and I will copy it. In the map, what we are looking for is that I want for each item, what's the quantity? So I want to be in an easy way, find out how many I got from the chicken soup or how many I got from the pizza. So in that case, any suggestion, what would be our key and what will be our value until Steve paste his code?
String and integer.
The key will be the string because that's what I care about. I want to be able to get the quantity for the item. So correct. The key will be a string and the value will be an integer. Let me take, I take code here from Steve and then go through it. Okay, let me take a copy all here. Okay, let's go to the developer console and paste it and see it. Here, exercise convert grocery, okay. Here you have the list of items. That's the same as we have. And then you have here, this one list items, okay. And then you created a map where the key is a string and the value is an integer. You give it a name, EL count. And you have the, you initialize it as an empty, okay? And then what you did here is that you loop through the list. And that's good. And then you check that if the key does not exist already in the map, put a count 0. And then you here, okay, so here okay, so let's go through it clean here. So you are looping through the map, loop through the list, sorry. I will change here the map name. I like to start with a map item count, items count. And here you're looping through the list. You check if the key okay, let me change it here. The map contains the key, which is the item. Here we can name it item name. So to be more like clear for us what we are, each value, what does it represent to us, just to make it more readable. So you are looping through the list, and here what as well, something else. Best practices is never to, it's not wrong and the code will run, but it's better to start with a small letter.
Yeah, I noticed that when I went back and looked at your other 12 videos that you started with a small letter and then
Yes.
so if you'll see my some of my exercises what I've shifted.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
in the way I named it.
Yeah. So
this one I did before looking at the first 12, I think.
Yeah. So here we'll have the list of items. We are looking through each of them. Each of them will give me the item name. We check if the item name count contains as a key the item name. yes or no. If it's a no, then that means the map does not contain this item before, so we'll put it with 0, and then you are getting the current count. Okay, so here it will be 0 plus 1, and then or if it was there before, you get it, so it will be 1 plus 1, 2, and then you put it again, because the key is unique. What will happen is that the item will be unique. The key will be unique, so it will update the value for it. Okay, let's do something as well. What we can do here, we can, okay, so, okay, that's not, okay, it's right. I don't know if like, it's clear for everyone. So let's try and debug it mentally so everyone can see it. The first line will go here. The item name will be cheese. So what will happen is our map is empty. We'll come here in the if statement and we'll check. Does the map contain the item name, which is cheese? The answer is no. So here it will come and it will put it. It will put here cheese and it will put count 0. And next line, what will happen is that we will get from the map items count, the item name here. So it will get.
So on line 22, in that put, do you need to change key to list of items then?
The item name, sorry. Yeah. So we are putting the key here, the item name, and the value, he started with 0. So as if we are initializing it to be 0 here. And then what we are doing is that we get it. So that here will get 0 plus 1. So the current integer will be 1. And then we'll put in the item name, the current integer or current count. We can name it current item count here. So we'll put the current item count, we'll put the item name. The item name will have here as the key with the cheese, and here will come cheese will become the count as 1. So that what will happen in case of the cheese. Then the next item will be chicken soup. So what will happen with that? Again, the item will be, in that case, chicken soup. The first time, what will happen will be the same. So we'll have here chicken soup. And it will be 0 the first time. And then we'll add the count here will be 1. And again, we'll put here, again, the chicken soup will be 1. What will happen the next time? That's the difference. We will get the item again is chicken soup. That's the next item. So what will happen? This one will be evaluated to false because the map already contains the item name, which is chicken soup in that case. So this will be excluded, won't run again. What will happen is that we'll get the count, and in that case, the count will be 1 plus 1. So it will be 2. And here, when it will come, it will put in the chicken soup 2 in that case. Is that clear? How that will work? So it depends on the item, and if it already exists or not, it keeps adding to the list or count the items. Let's try and run it and make sure it's working as expected. Let me just comment here the sets and the list that I had, and let's run it. And let me debug. And here, let's open it to double check. We have the bread only once, that's correct. Then the cheese here, the count is 1, that's correct. chicken, only one, that's correct. Then the chicken soup, you will see here, it will be 3, and the pizza will be 2. So now that was perfect. It initialized our map or created the map using the list values correctly. Any concerns, any like questions how this was working? The only thing is I try to think out loud and try to debug mentally how it will work, just to help you be able to detect or think where you can have an issue. So thinking or trying to debug the code as if you are the computer and line by line and thinking how it will work, you may find an issue or you may not find an issue. And then when you run it, you double check if it's working right. Okay, let me put this in the Slack as well, so everyone can have it later on. Any problem with how Steve did the initialization or created his map? Any questions here? We're good? Okay. The next step is learning how to loop through the map. And another thing that someone could do, and for the sake of this example, you could just created the map based on the receipt like that. You could create a map of a key string and value as an integer, give it a name, and then initialize it. But in that case, we have the values based on the receipt, like what we did with the here with the set. We got an example how you could initialize it using the list. And we did another example how we could initialize it just directly with the values from the receipt. The same with the map. I could enter, if you remember from last time, we said like you do the curly bracket to initialize the values, and then you start writing the key, then the equal greater than sign, and then the value. So that's what we did here, just to create or initialize the map with the values hard-coded from the receipt. Let's print it as well and see it to double check it's working as expected. Here, map items count and execute. Let's debug here. Oops, sorry. And I will open my anonymous window. So you will see here, I have the bread 1, cheese 1, chicken 1, the chicken soup 3. It's the same values I entered. Let me put this for you. And in the chat as well. So when would you do that or this? It depends on what's the use case. Sometimes you want to have only like you have default values, like when you create a primitive data type, an integer, the age. Sometimes, you know, the age when the students started to join is 10, and then next year you will increment it. So it depends on the scenario. Sometimes you will start your list or map with some default values that you know ahead of time, so you can do that. And sometimes you may have a list and you want to convert it to a map and you want to use the other logics. So there is nothing wrong. There is different ways to do everything. Now that will take us to the iteration. Last time, if you remember, and let's see it before we start, we visited multiple methods for the map, and 2 of them were very critical for us. One of them was how to get the list of values, and another one, how to get the sets of the set of keys. Anyone remember how can I get the values if I want to print them? I do system.debug. values. Yes, someone was about to say something, right?
Map.values.
Dot values, correct. So dot values is one of the methods. So I do that, maps item count, the map name, then dot values. That's the method that will return the values, the list of values of the map. That means it will return to me a list where I will have 1, 3, 2, 1, 1. So it's the list of values here from my map. The other one, we want to get the key, and we said the keys usually will return in a form of a set. And the reason why it return in form of a set, because it doesn't allow duplicates. The keys of a map doesn't allow duplicates, the same as the sets. But the list can have duplicate values. And that's an example. We have a cheese with 1 count. We have bread with 1 count as well. So here we want to print keys. And that will be map items count. Anyone remember the method that we usually use for that? And you are not supposed to memorize
Key
it.
sets.
Correct.
Key
You don't,
sets.
yeah, key set. And that will return for me the cheese and chicken soup and pizza and so on. So it's the set value of the key. Let's see it. I will execute here. You'll find here the values. As we said, like it will return as 1, 3, 2, 1, 1. And you'll notice that it kept the order of the items because we said the list is an ordered list of items. That means if I want to go to index 0 or index 1, the address of each item, it's unique. So it returned with the same order where the items are in the map. The second, which is the keys, return for me bread, chicken soup, and the pizza. It returned the values for the keys for the map. So those are the 2 important methods that we covered last time. And those are critical, or we use them to get or to loop through the map. Let's see in this example, and then we'll go back to the developer console and try it. So here I have a map of a string and integer just to keep the days and their temperature. So, and we put, if you remember, put is one of the main methods as well to add an item in the map after the initialization. So here we initialize it as an empty map, and then we put 3 values. One of them is that if we want to loop through the keys, so that's what we do. We do a for each on the key set values, because the key set value here, as if it's a set of strings. So the same as we were looping on set of strings, the same, but instead of putting the key set values in a set and then looping through the set, we just do it like that. And each item will come back is the string of each key of the set of the keys we have in the map. So the will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we are looping through them. The same with the values. We can do it for each on a list. So if we have a list and we can do it for each on it, we can do it for each on the map.values. So, and that's what we are doing here. If we go back and let's try it. Any questions so far? Check here. No question. Yes.
Quickly, Sally. So it looks like when you, like on line 29, when you create that map.
Here, okay.
So so you've got the order like cheese, chicken soup, pizza, but then when you debug it, it seems to go into alphabetical order rather than the order you entered.
Yes, because again, the list, what we care about is it's ordered list. So you will notice here, those didn't get sorted or anything. It remained in the order we entered. But when we got the set, it seems like in the background, Salesforce do the sorting for us. And that's why it got sorted. And we don't care about the sorting because with the set, it's unordered list. So we don't have an order, we don't have an index, so it doesn't matter. But with the
Okay.
list of values, it returned in the same order we have.
Right, okay.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
you're welcome. So let's go through here. This one is returning, we want to loop on values. So we'll do here, the values for me here is of type integer. So I'll do integer and item count. And then I'm looping through the map items count dot values. And let's do that. And here system.debug, and we'll do item count, and I will print it for you here. I will just comment this for now. Let's print it and see it here. So what happened is that this one is printing all the values. That's what we got here. And then we loop through the values one by one and we print it. So 1, 3, 2, 1, 1. Okay, so that's the loop through it. And what I was saying, it's the same as you are looping on a list. Like you could do, instead of that, if you wanted, you can do the following. I can do this one. We know that the list, the map.values will return a list. So that would return list of integers because the value is integer values. And I can do that. I put it in a list first, and then I can loop through it. So it's the same, but here instead of taking first the values and put it in a list and then looping through the list as we used to do, we did it only in one line. You don't need to put it in a variable and then loop through the variable. But let's see it in action so you can see it's the same. Here, you will find that it's the same, 1, 3, 2, 1, 1. The same values we got, or the debug statement we got by using dot values directly, it's the same as if we put it in a list of integers and we loop through it. Make sense? Any questions? Let me put it for you here. Okay, that's for the values. We can loop through the key. So how we can loop through the keys, what we will do is we'll do for, and the key we know it's the same, we have to use the same data type of the key. In our case here, the key is a string. So I would do string and I would do key value, and then I will take the map name dot key set. And we show the key set returns for me a set of the keys values. So here I'm looping through one by one, so I can do it like that, system.debug, key value, and I can do key value here and print. Let's execute it. Okay, it tells me in line 49, there is incorrect method or signature because here I did key set without the T. So I will go and change it. I will change it, line 49. I didn't have the T, so I added. And let's execute it now. And it printed for me the keys for the map. It's the same as well. Like if we wanted to compare it on how we were doing a for loop for the sets that we covered in the previous sessions, we could do here set of string, set key values, and I could, instead of using it here directly, I could do first get me the key set and put it in a set of string, and then I can loop on the set of strings. And it will be the same output. There is no need to do it on 2 steps, but I just wanted for you to see that it's the same. If it's easier for you at the beginning, while you are like getting used to the syntax, you can do it on 2 steps, but there is no need to do that. You could do it directly in 1 line. It's a good idea to know that this return a set, this return a list. So this doesn't include any duplicates. The values can have duplicates values in it. The other thing as well, when you are looping through the keys, I will comment this here. You can print as well or get the value. Sometimes like what we do in real life, that you may have the key is the ID of the records and the value is the record details or a certain field in it. You can loop through the key set and then you can print value. Anyone remember how I can get the value from the map? It's another method that we covered last time.
Key. Get.
Dot get, correct. Dot get, and then we give it the key that we want to get its value. So it's the key value here, because I'm looping through the keys and each key will come, the key value will have the value of each key. So that in that case, I can print that's the key and I can use the get and pass the key to get the value for it. So that will print for me, for example, bread 1, cheese 1, chicken 1, chicken soup 3, pizza 2. So let's see it. So here, the key value is cheese and the value is 1. Chicken soup, value 3, pizza and value 2. So it shows to me what's the key, because that's what I printed first. I was looping through the keys and I printed the key value first, and then what's the value, and I got from the map using the get and the key to get it. So let me put this for you as well. Any questions here on how you can loop through the maps, keys, or values? Okay, I have a question for you, for everyone. When we were talking about the loops, we talked about the traditional for loops. Traditional for loops, the syntax for it was for integer I, for example, 0, and then I do I less than certain condition here, and then say I plus plus, and we were printing the values from a list or something. Can someone tell me if I can use this syntax, the traditional for loop, with the keys or the values or both or none?
You could do it easily with the values because it's a list.
Yeah.
You couldn't do it with the keys because it's a set unless you first converted it to a list.
Correct. That's amazing. I'm very happy. The list is ordered so it has index. So what we would be doing here, for example, I can do here go for integer I until map items count dot size. That's another method we checked. So here the size for this one will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 items, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the size here will be 5. So we'll go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll stop. And that's because the index starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the index and how, like the condition that will make me get out from the loop. And then we increase it. And here I can do system.debug. And I can do here map count dot values of I, for example. Okay, let's see it here. I can see traditional for loop. And let's print it. That will show me the values for through the traditional for loop 1, 3, 2, 1, 1. The same when we did the for each for the get values. In real life, we don't do that because we have the for each and we can get all of them. I just want you to see that you cannot do it with the sets. And we want to always remember key set return a set, values return a list. So let's say if I do key set, for example, here, that here I'm trying to get from a set an item using a certain address. That will give me an exception and will reject it. So it will tell me here at line 59, the expression must be of list type, and we have a set. 59 is that line. So it's just a quick reminder that traditional for loop will work with lists and not sets. And get values return list, so key set return a set. It just for you to keep in mind about that. But usually what we do is we use the for each using the key set or for each and getting the values. Any questions? We're good? Okay. Let's move on. So that conclude here the maps and how we can loop through them. And we saw like it's a mix between the sets and maps because the maps contain the keys are as if a set and the values are as if they are a list. So it's a mix between the two. Just to keep in mind that you won't have duplicates. Let's say you have multiple students, you cannot have, for example, Adam as a first name, the key for your map, because I will put the first Adam age is 9, and next time I'll put another Adam age is 30, it will override and we will have only one. So it's very important to remember always that the maps keys won't be duplicate at all, the same as the set. Okay. The next question that sometimes people ask, okay, now we covered lists, sets, and maps, how we can choose and when would I say I want to use a list or sets versus map and so on. So I did this table that hopefully it's useful for you. I will take a picture for it and I put it for you in the chat and on Slack. Put it here. Here and here. And let's go through it. So first of all, like what we said that the list is ordered list. The sets and map, they are not ordered. So if you want to have an easy way to get based on index or index 0, index 1, and so on, so you would be using a list, not a set or a map. Duplicate values. The list will allow having duplicate values. We saw the values for the quantities we had on the receipt type example, we had multiple ones, and we can have duplicates. That no issues. The sets doesn't allow duplicates. The map, as we said, the keys won't allow duplicates the same as the set, but the values can allow duplicates. So it depends on the situation you're working with. If you want to retrieve by an index, that again will take us to the ordered list, and the list you can order your items. Yes, with the list. By index, you cannot. By the map, you cannot if you are working with the map itself. If you are working with the values of the map, you can get the values of the map, and that will take you as if you're dealing with a list, you can get with an index. But I cannot have the map name square bracket index 0. That won't work. So retrieval by index will work only with the list. Retrieval by key, we don't have a key in a list. We have a key in a set, and we have a key in the map. So that will work only, won't work with the list, but will work with these two. Contains key value pairs that only exist for the map. So if you have a situation where you want a like a list of unique IDs, values, then your best bet will be the set, because you want unique and it's single value. But if I want to have what's the account ID and what's who's the owner, for example, or the account ID and the email of the primary contact for it. So that's a key value pair, and that will be with the map. To add new items, we have for the list and sets add methods. With the map, it's a put, and you put a key and a value. Use cases, as we said, like with the list, if you need an order collection, if you want to do sorting, if you want to retrieve elements by index. And when you get a SOQL, like when we try to do a SOQL statement, and we'll cover SOQL in more details in another session, but when you do a SOQL and return a list of objects that you are retrieving, that will return in a list. Sets, when you want to remove duplicates. So you want always a unique values, and you want to keep track of unique values for a particular field. Like I have different students, and I want the city, the unique values of the cities for all the students. So I can keep looping on the contacts and adding the cities of each contact in a set, and that will give me a unique collection of the cities of the students I have, for example. The map, it's whenever you want to have a key value storage, mostly when you are working with triggers, for example, and we'll see it in the future, you will have a map where the key is the ID of a certain record and the value is the record or specific field in it. When you want to use this key pair value and get a value based on the key quickly, so that will be a map use case. And it's very useful and efficient when you want to relate records, or you relate data from an object to another and do this mapping and get certain values. This is again something we'll cover more when we do the triggers, but that's the use case for maps as well. Any questions? I don't see questions in the chat. Are we good? I think yes. Okay. Next.
Yep.
Sorry, someone said something.
Nope, I was just saying, yep, we're,
Okay. Okay.
I'm good.
Okay, great. So the next is we want to go through the exercise. So let me hear the first one. Okay, sorry. The first one, it's a list exercise. We want to create a list of your favorite movies. And we want to add in the list at least 5. because we have 10 minutes. So what we have here, this is a list. We want to have your favorite movies, 5 of them, and we want to loop through it and display the movies' names in the console. This is another exercise, but in the set, let's, I have a more difficult one for the list. The other one is create a list of integers representing scores. And you want to use this list to sort the scores in ascending order and find the highest score without using Apex built-in max function. So if we want to choose between these two, because of the time, I think let's go with the second one where we have the list of scores and try to get the highest. Anyone try to do it and want to paste their code and I put it in developer console or I go through it?
I did it.
Okay, you want to put your code there?
The exercise number 2, the
Yeah.
integer.
It's the list of integers
Okay.
representing scores.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else? Did you try to do it? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Let me know if you did it differently than Steve. Okay. Let's see here. So
Yeah.
it's a list of integers. So he created a list of integers. Again, I won't change it now so I don't miss any, but it's best to have small letters. And he initialized it as empty and put here 90, 85, 95, 70, and 75. That's correct. But if you know that you are starting with those, you could do 90, 85, 95, 70, and 75 straight away here. Just to save some code here. And he printed the list. Let me do it here. Scores. And he printed the list. That's correct. Then we have in the list methods, you'll find there is one called sort. I wanted you to try. Stephen, it's okay to have it LIST. I don't know, it's just me. I'm used to do list LST as a shortcut for it. Both are right, and you don't have to start with LST or list. Again, it's my preference. So if I have a variables with like map, integers, strings, and so on, it's easier for me to spot which one is a list directly within the code. So it's a preference. Here, one of the methods is the sort. It sorts ascending, so from small to big. So here, if I will think about that, here the list will be 70, 75. Then we have 85, and then 90, and then 95. So that the sort will take me here. And then he is looping through them, and that will print the list of sorted scores. It's right, but I don't want to print all of them. The requirements was find me the highest. I want you to print me the highest. So that would be right. If I wanted to sort them and loop through it and display it, but I don't want that. I want to just print the highest number. Any ideas how we can do that? Rob, you tried, right, to do it? Or Sagar, I see you unmuted.
Yeah, I did. I put it in there, but I just got the maximum item in the list. So the size of the list -1 will get you the index of the last item right there.
Yes, so that's correct. So what I would do here is that we remember that the list is ordered list and we have an index. So this one I put here between square brackets, index 0. This one is index 1. This item will be index 2. 90 is index 3. And here index 4, right? So what Rod did is the list of score and get me list of score dot size. The dot size here will be 5 because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 minus 1 means I want to get the item in index 4. And that will be the last one, which is the highest. And that's what we want here. System dot debug, check high score, and I print it here. Here it says line 1. Ah, okay, because here we didn't have the start of the command. Let's do it again. Here, that's the highest, 95. So that was the ask. I didn't want to print it all. I wanted to print the highest. Now, something for everyone, like I put this for you here. You can play with it. We can print it as we saw, like how we can print it ascending. But how can we print the list in descending order? That's something I want everyone to think about. And whoever find the answer, you can send it to me and I will let you know if it's correct or wrong. Next time we'll start another topic, but we can take it if we have more time. So that concludes the list exercise. The first one is simple. So if anyone has a question about it, ask me, I will answer it. For the set, we have 2 as well. I believe the first one was a set of unique employee ID from a list of IDs where we might have duplicates. Display the unique IDs in the developer console. So that's the easy exercise. And the harder is the one we have 2 sets and we want to representing the names, but I want to find the intersection and I want to show the names that appear on both. And we encourage you to use retain all. Did anyone do it and want to share their code and we try it?
I did it.
Okay.
But somebody else can share.
Anyone else did it?
I did too.
Okay, Sagar, can you paste for me?
I was not with my system right now, so I could have done that. Yeah, but that's a new method which I got to know when I look into the document. I never used that, but it's an interesting one.
Yes, it is. Okay, so if you don't have it with you, Steve, can you share yours?
Okay.
And Rob, you have yours. Okay, I put Rob first, and then if it's different than yours, Steve, let me know. That's the one. Okay, so here we have set of string, correct? Because we want to have names. So names is a string. We did set 1 and we tried to initialize it with some values. That's amazing. And we did the same with the second one. We have some names common. I see Alice and Mary, if I'm not mistaken, are the 2 that are the same. What we have here, you did intersection and you
It's
initialize
like, yep,
set
just creating
1.
a new set, basically, yeah.
Okay. And intersection dot retain all, right? And you did set 2. So that's you created 1 You initialize it to be the same values as set 1, and then you cold retain all and give it set 2. Retain all, for anyone who didn't use it, I didn't use it before as much, but like I wanted to see different method and like be creative, so you can look into the documentation. But retain all, if you see it here, it takes a set and it retains only the elements in the original set that are contained in the specified set. So it will retain only the values. So here, intersection 1, intersection set will have the values the same as set 1 because that's what we initialize it with. So what will happen here, I'm saying retain and keep only the values that exist as well in set 2. So does John exist in set 2? No, so we'll lose it. It will be removed. Alice, does it exist in set 2? The answer is yes, so it will be remain. Then Mary, exist in set 2? Yes, so it will remain. And then we printed the set here that retained the 2 values. So let's see it. So Alice and Mary. So that's the second exercise we had for the sets to retain the values and have it here for you. And let me do that here and here. Okay, so that's the second exercise for the sets. Again, for the maps, this one is create a map where key is a country name and the values, it's capital and at least 5 country capital pairs in the map, then through the loop through it and show it. So that's similar to what we did. Let's see this one. If anyone you want to drop because we crossed the 8 o'clock, feel free. I just want to finish at least the map exercise because next time we'll start a new topic. And before losing anyone, unfortunately, next session I have to cancel. I have an operation on Tuesday, so I don't think I'll be up and running and capable to do the session on Thursday. So for now, it's canceled. If anything else happen and I see I can do it, I will let you know.
Because you feel so great after your operation on Thursday. Where's your fighting spirit?
So yeah, the map exercise we have here, we wanted to have the key is the employee ID, and the ID is a string and the values their names, and we wanted to add entries to the map. Then we want to write another code to convert the keys to be values and the values to be the values keys values. And that's only to understand the map methods and iterating over map entries. Anyone? Steve, I think you did it. Anyone? You did it or no?
I did.
Okay. Anyone else? Sagar, I guess you did it, but you don't have the code with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have some again, but if somebody else wants to share, that's fine.
Yeah, anyone who wants to share, you can share your code and I will copy it and paste it and go through it. Okay. Steve or Rob, feel free to share and I will copy it.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Complete with you, me, Steve, and Danny.
You did it now? Okay, let's go through it. So we have here the map with IDs and names. Again, if you started the map and you know what's your values, you could do that directly. That's the key. and that's the value.
Ah, right, yes.
And then the second one will be this, and I remove the comma to be the equal greater than. And Steve. Okay, so let's say we started like that. And then one of the requirements is to do an addition. So I keep Danny here. So you can, again, having it all with the put, it's not an issue. It just I want, like, because we are reviewing what we learned, so I want to mix the two together. So it, like, you see it, you can do the initialization like that, and then you can add more. So here, employee map, and you put that as well. And then we want to invert it. So the inverted map, you created another map, have a string and string to match. That's great. And then what you did here, that you loop through the employee map key set. So that will loop through 001, then 002, then 003, and 004. So that's the key set for us. So the first one will get the value using the employee ID. We get the name. So the first time it will get Sally. And second time when we have 002, it will get Rob, 03 will get Steve, 004 will get Danny. And what we did here is we used the put, but in the inverted map, we put the key as the name and the value as the ID. So as if I have Sally here and equal greater than and 001. So we switched, the key became the value became the key. And definitely, we cannot have in the key duplicates. So let's say I had here another ID and the name as well as Sally. The last Sally as a key will be the one that will have the ID for the last Sally. Like if we have duplicates, the last one will win. Just, but again, it's not a real life scenario. It's just a way for you to see different methods. And then here we did here printing for the inverted map. So let's run it and see it in action. And I will do another example for the duplicate, so you can see it as well. So here we'll have at the end, we'll have Danny as the key and value as 004, Rob and ID 002. So we switch the two together. Let's say here I put another Sally with 111 and name Sally, and another one as 555. What's the value when I print the inverted map at the end? What do you think will be the ID related to Sally? Any guesses?
555.
555, correct. Because the first time the item is not there, so we'll put the key as Sally and the value as 001. Next time it's there, so it will update it to be 111. And then the third time when we are going through the keys, because the last key will be the 555, we'll update Sally to be 555 in that case. So let's execute it and see it. And here we go. That's the last ID and the last key. So now it became Sally 555. So just to keep in mind, like it won't through an error, it lets you update it, but it's only one value and the last one will win. Let me take this for you and put it in the chat as well. Any questions so far? Okay, so again, I'm off next week. I don't think I'll be able to do it. And I will see you in 2 weeks. The next topic we are going to discuss will be object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming is a big topic. We are not covering everything now with this series because this is beginner series. So we'll cover the beginner concept of object-oriented, and we'll have the more advanced topics later in future sessions when we finish the beginner series. Any questions before I stop the recording?
Did you want us to try and be doing that in like Visual Studio Code for the
Yes,
next
that's
set of stuff yet?
Yeah, this one I will start opening Visual Studio Code and I will start using it. So if anyone doesn't have it yet, try. Now you have 2 weeks until next session. Try to do it. If you have any issues, try to reach out. I will do my best to support. If next time you don't have it, it's fine still. You can create classes and you can follow in the developer console. It's not a big deal, but it's easier to do it in Visual Studio Code. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will stop the recording now and I will see you in 2 weeks. If anyone has extra questions they want to ask it offline, I will remain for some time until everyone is okay. Thank you so much again and have a good evening.
Okay, thank you for your time, and I hope everything goes well next week for you.
Thank you so much.